Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's another how-to video from Stove's Dining and the Michelin trained chef at Tasty TV Food. What we're going to do tonight is we're going to make mayonnaise. A really simple dish, garnish should I say, and just one of them basic sauces that I think everybody needs to know how to make correctly. So what we're going to do tonight is we are going to use egg yolk, this is pasteurised egg yolk. Now this has got a safety issue involved with it, as well as the fact that it is pasteurised. You can get this in supermarkets now, but if you haven't got pasteurised, then use free range egg yolks are just as good. Now the reason why I'm using pasteurised egg yolk is the safety side of it as well. It has been pasteurised, and what we're going to do here is we're just going to put in the equivalent of 3 egg yolks into my pan here, which is probably going to be about that. There's quite a bit in here. There's about 48 egg yolks or something in that carton, so there's quite a bit that'll be used up as well. So what we're going to do to this, we're going to add a teaspoonful of English mustard to it, and we're going to add so we've got some nice English mustard here, so we'll add a nice dollop of that to it, just gives that nice kick. Set that to one side for the minute, and we've also got some nice white wine vinegar here as well, which would just add a good splash of white wine vinegar to it as well. So it's probably about a tablespoon of vinegar. So now what we're going to do is just going to gently mix this together so we get the consistency started. Now the oil that we're going to use, probably one of the best oils to use for mayonnaise, is ground nut oil, which is peanut oil. It's quite a neutral flavour, but what you'll find with it is obviously you can't use mayonnaise if you're using this for somebody's allergic to nuts, obviously. But one of the other oils that I really love as well, it's quite a neutral flavour as well. It's not overpowering. If you ever make mayonnaise with olive oil, you'll find it's very overpowering. So what we're going to use is grapeseed oil, which is this here, and it's a very neutral flavour as well. So what we're going to do, we're slowly going to start adding this to your egg. Now the secret of this, when you make a mayonnaise, is just to add a little bit of time in a thin thread, or you add about a tablespoon and really thoroughly mix it in is another way. So once we've got the first bit in, that's really good. Starting to thicken already actually, yes, that's really good. We're going to add to this around 250 millilitres of oil. And we're going to finish this off today as well, is once it gets the right consistency, we're going to add some lemon juice at the very end, and we're going to add some capers as well to this, because we're going to use this as a garnish for a salmon dish. If you have a look at that consistency already, it's starting to thicken up already. It's really starting to go. So now that it's actually starting to thicken there, you can add the oil in a quicker stream. You get the consistency right. We're getting there. Probably have to add a little bit more than 250 mils in this, I think. There's not really, when you make a mayonnaise, there's not really a recipe to it. It's actually, because what happens is obviously the egg yolks emulsify with the oil, and then as you can see there, we've got really quite a thickish consistency there now. And as I was saying, we're going to finish this off with lemon juice and some caper, just to give that acidity to it as well. One of the things I think why people like mayonnaise so much is because of its body, its thickness. It can hold a lot of strong flavours. It's really good with cold meats, cold fish, and it has a lovely, it's not like a lot of dressings which are quite thin. It can hold quite a good body to it, if you see what I mean. So we're probably getting there now. If you look at the consistency of that now, it's really quite thick. So you might be asking why I'm whisking this in a pan. Actually, one of the reasons is I like this pan. It's very universal. It's flat bottom, it's got sloping sides, so I can mix in it while also cooking it at the same time, and it's got a handle as well, which is really helpful because you got control of. If you've got a round bowl, you sometimes find it difficult to control. But this has come up lovely now. It's getting to the consistency that I'm looking for. Tiny bit more oil. We've probably had about, I would say, maybe 350 millilitres of oil we're getting into here so far. As you're seeing, it's a very easy sauce to make, but it's also one that can split very easy. But I can just imagine tonight, I was going to try and split it for you and bring it back, but this is probably not going to do it for me. So what happens is, if it does split, you've added the oil too quickly to your egg yolk. Now, one of the best ways of bringing them back is a really good tip is if for example your pan here and it's split, if you get yourself a little bit of warm water, just put it in the corner where it's separated, and then slowly just start to whisk it together. By whisking it together, you'll bring the egg in the oil back together, and then eventually do more and more and more until you're doing the whole thing again, and it will bring it all back together. And that's probably, hopefully that is a really good tip if you do split it. But it's actually quite hard to split it if you take care in how you add your oil. So what we have here, we're just going to give a nice squirt of lemon in there. So we've got half a lemon in there as well. So that will really cut the richness of the mayonnaise. What you'll find as well, once you add anything wet to it, like lemon or lime or anything that's acidic, it will drop a little bit. It makes it thinner. So the consistency of that has actually dropped. So what we're going to do tonight to finish this mayonnaise off here is I've got some lovely capers here. Normally I would use salted capers. Salted capers are really nice. You need to give them a good wash, but I've got these in vinegar tonight. So we're just going to just chop a few of these up. Now this gives a really fantastic bite to it. Yeah, I've got the rich mayonnaise, and then we'll have a lovely bite to the mayonnaise, and it's a brilliant little garnish to use for dishes like salmon and cold meats as well. So there we are, lovely. What we could do as well is you could add some slightly blanched shallots to this as well, give it another dimension, or some parsley. But I'll just quickly show you the consistency of this. This would look lovely, as I was saying, on a plate. A nice dollop of that on a plate. I'll put some on the chopping board here just to give you an idea what the consistency is like, and that is perfect. So this, what we're going to do is we're going to store it in a fridge in the Kilner jar, lidded, and this will keep probably around a week or so in your fridge. And there should be nothing wrong with it. Like I'm saying as well, if you want to add parsley, you can add tarragon, you can add basil, which are quite stronger herbs as well, and they're quite fresh and they'll go really well with this mayonnaise. Mayonnaise will hold some fantastic garnishes, and strong ones at that. So that's how you make mayonnaise, and hopefully that'll be on your repertoire very soon. Thanks very much for watching Stoves Dining again.